What's going on, y'all? This is Greg. Greg said it. Yeah, we back. Inspiration, motivation, second of the day. We had a nice live early today. We talked about, is Shedeur really valued up there? You would think that it would be clear by now, but it's becoming increasingly clear that the value may not be there up in the Cleveland Browns camp. And it was one of my concerns, basically, how the whole situation went, how he was drafted, how the NFL treated him. They wasn't in a rush to get him. And the comments that were made by the GM, like, he's going to earn it. And it's like, it really didn't show the value far as they really didn't show a desire or a plan for him to lead that team. Like, just going to have to figure it out amongst everybody else, and we're going to see. That's not how they talked about Cam Ward. So it's like the value wasn't there. He even used the terminology to prove this when he said, I feel like he was overvalued for the first round. Like, based off of what? I guess. But yet, you at least appear as if you don't know who your starting quarterback is going to be between a 40-year-old quarterback, a quarterback who's really a career backup, who you went and acquired, and then two rookies that you acquired pretty much back-to-back. You're really in a strange situation with Shedeur. Shedeur is the most proven when it comes to working with garbage programs as far as being able to function in that space and win and pull the team along. He's done it multiple times at this point, right? Then we've seen it where he's clearly the one who's going to put more butts in the seats. He's clearly going to be the guy that everybody wants to see. Regardless, they want to see him. So you got a guy like that, and you still treat him like he's just like everybody else. At least you want to make it seem that way and make him feel that way, which is not smart. It's like having Michael Jordan on your team. Everybody wants to see Michael Jordan. And you can say, Michael Jordan is one of the best, da-da-da. Well, Shedeur could be one of the best. You don't know. You're not even giving him a chance. Michael Jordan wasn't the best ever coming out of college. He had potential. And, it's up to you. Y'all decided that he wasn't a first-round pick based off of, I don't know what. He was a first-round pick all the way up. He was considered number one and number two. So, to me, that would be the equivalent of the likes of, LeBron James, people who you typically build a franchise around. Y'all chose otherwise. It was totally up to you all. But his valuation for the last couple of years, especially with this weak quarterback class, he was considered one of, if not the top quarterbacks. And all of a sudden, right before the draft, right at the draft, you decide that he is one of the worst quarterbacks. Even though his stats, his everything, is better than the quarterbacks that you chose over him. But you made a decision that he was no longer of that value. And clearly, you all made a decision and a consensus overall in the NFL because nobody picked him. We say, oh, everybody didn't pick over him. Let's be for real. Several teams needed a quarterback. A lot of them still do. Then you had guys who, okay, they could have got him even though they had quarterbacks because he was still available. People will say, oh, we don't want a guy like Shedeur because if he's not a starter, it's going to be a problem. And we don't want the media circus. And then you see what's going on in Cleveland. They say, see, that's what we're talking about. But you created the situation. You don't want to play with him. If he didn't have the value, don't touch him. It would be silly for a team that don't have a starting quarterback, they ain't won nothing, to act like they're too good for a Shedeur. It's silly for teams that's still out there without a quarterback to act like Shedeur was a problem because you still don't have a quarterback, and there was not a lot of quarterbacks available. So here you go, not choosing him, and you still waiting for a 40-year-old man to decide if you're going to come to you. Or you watch one super veteran at your program and your organization decide to retire and leave you in a bad spot. And you chose to walk over somebody like Shedeur, like you had it all together, and now you really don't know. You're in a situation where you're not going to have a caliber quarterback that really, one, the people want to see. Two, they can win the big game. You say Shedeur is not proven, but technically he is. He proved it very, very well at Colorado. He proved that he can win some big games, like we've seen at Baylor. We've seen that he can win without an offensive line. We've seen that he can be highly effective with the weapons around him. Isn't some things he needs to work on? Yeah. They say holding the ball. I do believe that having a good run game, a balanced game, could help. That's up to the coordinator. And, of course, you got to run the ball in the NFL, right? So that would help out a lot. He also didn't really have a tight end. So he's having a good time with the tight ends in Cleveland. Typically, when you look at, even in the first year of Colorado, it was a hybrid tight end, but he was productive. In Jackson State, he had a couple good tight ends. He used them very well. I've always said that not having a tight end really hindered him because that's something that he really works well with. And it's a good tool to have, not just your receivers. It's a lot of things that could make him better and support him better. He can definitely, in my eyes, be more effective and really a better quarterback if he learned to get that ball to the running backs out in the flats, whatever, not just looking downfield, but take advantage of those underneath situations, including that running back. But hey, I don't know what was going on with the running back room. See, they got a whole new running back coach. The running back room don't pretty much dissolved a little bit. They lost a couple. So, and that's been the last couple of years. So I don't know if that's a Colorado thing. Some people try to say that's a Shedeur thing. You will see. But it looks like he's getting along well with the running backs up in Cleveland, even with just what they're doing, because that's part of the system. I would love to see him do better in that area. I would love to see him get rid of the ball more, which would help him with the tight end and the running back, because stuff down the field is not there. And yeah, he can throw some away. But as a whole, his numbers show that him throwing the ball is effective. His completion percentage is the best. His accuracy is superior. It has been that way his whole career. He don't really throw a lot of interceptions. I've seen him throw some interceptions at Colorado. Half of them weren't his fault. Sometimes the receiver tipped the ball, or it'd be some little fluke situation, they get the ball, or it'd be some questionable, like, did he really catch that ball? And then you have some where he just get nonchalant and, he up on him and he just, but he's not doing that when he's trying to make a comeback. When he make a comeback, he's very precise, scary, accurate. He'll go 20 for 23 when he's trying to run you down. He's not being sloppy with the ball. He's not holding the ball when he's running you down. A lot of that happens when they have the slow starts or when he has the lead. I feel that that's more psychological, it's maturity, having a good sports psychologist, whatever, somebody to talk him through that. That's just growth, and he can grow in that area. But ultimately, when you see people don't value you, this is what it's taught me. And I've always seen it, but I definitely, in this situation, believe that it's a very questionable situation when it comes to how Cleveland Browns feel about Shedeur. From how they drafted him to how they're treating him with the reps and how the language they're using. And I think in real life, it's a saying, when somebody tell you who they are, you better believe them. You better believe them the first time. The biggest mistake sometimes we make is you want to give people a benefit of the doubt. They showing you they don't give nothing about you. A rat's tail. Yet you be like, nah, I see the good in them. Nah, you try to use your logic to justify bad treatment. They don't care nothing about what you're doing. They word short, and yet you believe, that ain't what they mean. Even though they showed me they don't really want me, but they kind of just went along and just tolerated me. They lowered the bar. It's hard to believe that person gonna come around. You feel like, a lot of women feel like I can win them over, I can change them. But sometimes you just got to realize that people not going to change. They already pretty much don't figure what they're going to do with you. And sometimes, most of the time, that's what it's going to be. They're not going to change their mind because they already don't lock you into a category. It's rare. You want to be the superhero and win people over. And that's possible. But it really depends on the motive of that person. It really depends on the mindset of that person. Like in the case with Shedeur, it's like if their motive is to humble him, or that they're not going to let him run his team, they're not going to let their dad run the team, or whatever the situation is, then chances are that will block them from ever giving him a real shot. But if it's just, oh, we had him wrong, and I just don't think that that's the case. We just had him wrong because you did enough research. You went to Boulder enough. You stepped with him enough to know him as a person. So if you had him wrong, it says a whole lot about you. You don't need to be running the organization in any form or fashion because you're a bad judge of character, which would explain why you can't recruit, which would explain why you can't win. Because and maybe that's the case. Either way, it's not good. You can't really hope for an ignorant person to get smart. They can, but do you want to be done on your watch? You want them to figure it out with you? I don't know. It's best to start with somebody who values you, knows your value, know your worth, and show that they know your worth. It's just a better situation. A lot less heartache, a lot less pain, a lot less suffering. And sometimes you can't avoid certain things in life. But when you can control it, I don't know how much Shedeur can control it. He drafted this and that. He make the best out of it. That's all he can do. But for us, we better not ever get in the habit of trying to believe the unbelievable. We can keep hope alive, but for our own sake, it's best for us to see it where it is. Because I may not ever convince you of my value. It happens all the time. You look at plenty of relationships. One person say to you nothing. Or they say one man's trash is another man's treasure. That's real talk. I hope that's not the case with Shedeur. He had to go that route. It's unnecessary. He didn't do nothing to earn that. If you're trying to prove a point, that's your problem. That's not his. He's just trying to play ball. I hope that's not his case. But it very well could be. And it's ugly because from what we see is other teams that was involved. They could have intervened like we claim Cleveland did. They could have intervened. So it's like, are they going to have the same attitude? Are they going to treat them the same way if the Cleveland part doesn't work out? Or is everybody going to treat them like that? Like he just some horrible thing for the locker room and for the team, even though that has not been the case. It's a scary thing, man. Because again, they all have shown their hand. But we shall see, as always. I'm Greg. Greg said it. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I'll be talking to y'all soon.